CrossFitters talk about CrossFit. Today we want to talk about the similarities between leadership and CrossFit, and if that's what you want to see, then just keep watching. I first want to talk to you about what CrossFit actually is. CrossFit is a sport that is using a lot of different kind of workout styles and also a lot of skills that you need to be able to perform. CrossFit is a mixture out of gymnastics, weightlifting, so like Olympic weightlifting, the heavy stuff, and also high intensity interval training. All CrossFit skills, it's about 30 skills you would have to learn. That's why CrossFit brings also a lot of complexity, like leadership is also doing. So that's what both of them have in common. I want to go through 4 points of them for today. So the first one is the consistency, the adapting to challenges. Then I want to talk to you about the limits pushing, and the last one for today will be the embrace of failure and also the build of resilience, because all of this kind of stuff is very important to leadership, and I will go now into each and every part of it to talk to you about why I think this is so important. In Germany we also have different kinds of CrossFit and CrossFit interpretations, let's say it that way. We have definitely the Europe version of it, but what I'm referring to is really like the American one. So you're going into a CrossFit gym and also performing CrossFit workouts with a certified code. Not like many of our, let's say in Germany or in Europe, we have very often also normal gyms that offer also some CrossFit areas, but that's, I consider the Europe version of it. What I'm doing is the real American way of doing it. The first one is consistency. If you want to get better, if you want to learn 30 skills, you have to be consistent. And that's very, very important in CrossFit. You have to not only learn them, but also continue to improve them and also doing them on a regular basis. Because otherwise you got kind of lose track. And from my point of view, also CrossFit makes no sense if you do this once every now and then. CrossFit is not a sport that you can kind of perform whenever you feel like. You have to be a little bit disciplined and consistent in going or showing up at the gym on a regular basis to really get better, and also to ensure that it is fun. It's also what you're expecting of yourself, like in leadership also. You have to show up as a leader consistently. You cannot be a leader today and tomorrow not, because your team would be very, very, let's say, confused when you show up one day as a leader and one day as a follower. So this is, you always have to be willing to take the lead whenever your team is struggling. And for me, CrossFit helps to really bring this both together. Later on you will also see what kind of other similarities we have in CrossFit and also in leadership, because I think it is important to have also a sport that kind of prepares you to be the leader, because you have to lead yourself during the CrossFit workout, and sometimes you all as well work in teams. You sometimes work in teams where you don't know the people very well, because you don't know each member the same way. So that's why I think also from a consistency perspective, CrossFit prepares you very well for leadership also. So that's my first take of it. And the second one is adapting to challenges. CrossFit workouts are always challenging. You will always have new skill set combinations that you maybe have never performed before. Sometimes also you can do certain skills when you're not in a workout setup. And also sometimes you just have the combination of skills that maybe fatigue one of your muscle parts that you would usually use to perform another skill. But if they are fatigued, you cannot use this in combination. And sometimes this throws you out of balance and brings you additional challenges that you might not have expected before. That's why I think CrossFit is really helpful to adapt to new circumstances, because we all have new circumstances in leadership every day. Yeah, so sometimes we have other teams that are affecting our decisions. Yeah, so when we sometimes perform or decide to perform a process in a certain way and have X amount of outcome, sometimes other teams are coming over by saying, oh no, this quality is not good enough, we cannot work with that, we need to have something different, and then we need to adapt the strategy again. Yeah. And this is the same for CrossFit. When sometimes the goal of a certain workout is to perform X amount of rounds, and you figure out after one round that you're too slowly, yeah, you have to adapt something. And this kind of adaptation is that you also can put into your leadership role. Yeah, if you are a leader, some leaders are leading a family, some leaders are leading a team. In business, this is where we can really build that kind of, or practice that kind of strategy changing that we also have in CrossFit. Yeah. I'm approaching every CrossFit workout by strategize, commit, execute. Sometimes you have to do the re-strategy 2 or 3 times, hopefully not, because you get better at it, because when you show up more often, you're also more prepared, and if you're consistent with your workouts, you know what to strategize or what to change to accomplish that goal. Yeah. So for me, this is very, very helpful, and also I'm able to transfer this kind of knowledge and this kind of behavior to business as well. The third one is pushing limits. And as you might figure out in the meantime, I really like to grow. Yeah, I also like to grow my team. I also like to grow myself as a leader, as a person. Yeah, to become 1% better every day. Yeah, and this is also very helpful in CrossFit workouts, because sometimes it is really, like I said before, sometimes you can perform a certain task without the workout setup, let's say it that way, but in combination with some other stuff, it becomes very hard. And for me, pushing the limit starts when I do it anyway. Yeah. For example, I have some exercises when I'm really like in a healthy state. I don't talk about I'm injured. Yeah, and I don't do CrossFit when I'm sick. Yeah, so very important to consider. When I'm really pushing limits here is very, very cool. Yeah, because when I'm able to push myself over a certain limit and also perform a task in a certain way. So sometimes I'm able to perform XYZ task in this and those and that workout format. For some reason, the programming says we need to do this workout instead of 15 minutes, 25 minutes. If you have an MREP setup, you will be able to perform more reps in that time. And it is very interesting then to see how the limits got changed. Very interesting to see when you're in kind of a setup when you're in a competition. Yeah, because in competition you're always better than in the normal CrossFit workout session that you have every day. The competition drives you to another level, and sometimes I'm very, very surprised what can happen. The open workouts are performed better by myself than the normal workouts, even though they are much harder, because it's the open setup and I want to deliver better results. Yeah, and it's the same in leadership. Yeah, sometimes we really have to push the limits that we thought are there. Yeah, and improve ourselves by trying something new. Yeah, or maybe to do something faster than we have anticipated or we ever did before. Yeah, and I think this makes us really, let's say, creative to also fix our problems faster. For me, it's also important as a leader to know myself a lot. And when I'm pushing my limits, I know I can drive the extra or go the extra mile if it is required. Yeah. Sometimes you're also doing this CrossFit workouts when you're, for example, performing in a team, in a competition. You have to show up at your very best because you don't want to let the others down. Yeah. And I know I can do that. I can step up if it's necessary. And I think I cannot expect my team to go the extra mile for me or for the company, for my company, if I'm not able to do so myself. And that's what improved my mindset a lot while doing CrossFit. The last point for today is embracing failure and resilience. For me, this is kind of the wrap up. I mean, there are also some more where I think CrossFit is very beneficial for leaders, but what I figured, these are the 4 most important to me. Yeah, there are also other aspects of CrossFit that are really helpful for leadership, but I wanted to focus on those 4. I think number 4 is important because some people don't like to fail. I also don't like to do so, but the thing is, that's part of the process, and I think this needs to kind of embraced more. Yeah. Because sometimes when I'm failing a snatch, I'm just shaking myself and try again. Yeah, resettle, refocus, and then I'm trying again. And this is also very important in leadership, that sometimes when we fail, really to reflect. Also, I'm reflecting also a lot of stuff that goes wrong or that went wrong during my career with my team. Because it makes me, on the one hand, vulnerable and also very authentic and approachable. And this is what Gen Z, I'm working with Gen Z people mainly, also really appreciates. Yeah? Because no one is perfect, and the faster you kind of approach your failure and also correct them, the faster you get out of it. Yeah, sometimes we really have to go through pain to embrace our full potential, even though it's not easy. Yeah, I have to admit, it's also not like, so I just, I failed, that's nice. Sometimes I really have also to get up and try again, and sometimes it's really hard. But to be honest, it was always worth it. So whenever I failed in the past, it was always worth it standing up and trying again. Yeah, and we do this in CrossFit constantly. Sometimes we're just trying to attempt a certain movement, and then we just fall to the ground and need to try again. Yeah, and this is kind of is humbling. Yeah, and I think it's reminding us that the rent for success is due every day. Yeah, if we don't put in the reps and the work every day, we get lost. So it's going away. Yeah, and I think this is very important to have in our minds, that we can not kind of count on it as a given without putting in the work. If I'm not doing the work myself, I cannot expect my team to do so. And that's where CrossFit helps me to stay in charge, to hold myself accountable each and every day. In CrossFit workouts, you very often have kind of goals. Yeah. And you need to figure out how you can reach this goal, because this is different for each and every individual, and for each and every, let's say, CrossFit member, for each and every person, because we have different fitness levels, we have different experiences, and to reach a goal is to be figured out by the individual. Of course, the coach helps us to figure it out, to kind of choose the right weight, choose the right scaling, and so on. But at the end, we as individuals are responsible for achieving our goals. Yeah. And sometimes when you're in for example, a NEMOM, and you figure out, no, I cannot do this many reps in 1 minute, I have to adjust it, otherwise I'm not reaching the goal, then I'm doing so. This also helps me to find or to kind of redefine the strategies sometimes in real life as well. So not only in leadership, also in my private life. So whenever I'm figuring out I cannot reach a goal in with a certain strategy, I re-strategize. And I think it is also very important to let that go. Sometimes the strategy we figured out to reach a goal is no longer working because the circumstances are changing. And for me, this does not necessarily mean I cannot accomplish the goal. I just cannot accomplish the goal in the way I intended to. Yeah. Sometimes we really have to re-strategize to ensure we are reaching the goal. And this holds true for CrossFit, and this also holds true for leadership. Yeah. So whenever I agree in a certain way of moving forward with my team to reach a goal, and they figure out, so we have this and those and that to consider as well, and we were not aware before, we need to re-strategize. Yeah, and I think this is kind of the resilience and also the failure culture we have to really embrace to reach our goals. Yeah, I'm very good in reaching goals, but I'm also very good in adapting my strategy if needed. So I'm not really concerned by any means if I have to let go a certain strategy. How much do you want it? I think this is also very important to know your why, to know why you do things. And also it's very important to review the goals on a regular basis, because sometimes we have set 10 years ago a goal on paper and we figure out while reaching it that is not on our heart anymore. I'm not a fan of changing a goal, but sometimes we have to let go of it. Yeah. And I'm also not, let's say, mad about that, because I'm learning while executing towards a goal. I'm learning a lot about myself. Sometimes it's just for the sake of it, for the sake of learning. In the meantime, I really have learned during the last 20 years of reaching goals. I have really learned what kind of a person I am and how much I can endure, how much I can change on my own, because some people are really not aware how much power they have. Yeah, and I find this very sad, and that's why I like CrossFit so much, because it is expanding your range of motion always. Yeah, so you get a better person, you get more fit, you look better, you feel better, and also it's very good for the self-esteem. Yeah, because when you know you can push yourself through workout X, then you can also expect your team to do so. Yeah, not in a similar way. And we also have people with disabilities and so on. So I'm not talking about that. They have their own ways or their own challenges to overcome. So I'm not talking about this. This is not my, let's say, space to talk. Let's say it that way. I'm just talking about myself and my experiences here. We can close this podcast for today, and I was really happy sitting here and talking to you about this. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to go deeper into some of the talking points I just mentioned, or if you have some questions and do you want to know more about my CrossFit challenge or my CrossFit journey, just let me know. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and also push on the notification bell to not miss any more of my videos. Thank you so much. Bye guys.